Whis reveals the greatest secret of Dragon Ball Super, his brothers plan to destroy the 11 universes and Zeno, exactly. But calm down, because I will explain this whole story to you as Dragon Ball Super is entering a very interesting phase and there is a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's go. Whis has always been one of the most enigmatic characters in Dragon Ball Super. Despite his calm, playful, and even innocent demeanor at times, there is something in his posture and in the small phrases he drops that makes it clear that he knows much more than he lets on. He never speaks directly about the secrets of the universe, but constantly gives clues, as if he were testing Goku, Vegeta, or even the gods of destruction themselves. This aura of mystery around him leaves the feeling that his intentions go far beyond simply being Beerus's attendant and mentor. One point that always caught attention was when Goku asked to be trained by him. Whis could have refused, could have said it wasn't the time, but instead, he replied that it was already time. This answer, coming from a being who sees time and events in a completely different way from mortals, is not trivial. He did not mean it was a good time by chance. That statement sounds as if he was waiting precisely for that request, as if all of Goku's and Vegeta's growth were part of something much bigger than just strengthening two Saiyans. When Bulma asked Whis what he meant by that, he simply deflected, maintaining his calm demeanor and changing the focus of the conversation. This in itself is evidence that Whis holds information that should not be revealed anytime soon. He knows the weight of words, and certainly chose to omit the truth because it was not yet the right time to expose what is really happening. It is almost as if he is preparing the field for something inevitable, but which must remain secret until the critical moment. Another detail that makes this mystery clear is the angel's own hierarchical position. We all know that Whis is not just Beerus's attendant, he is, in fact, a very high-level angel, considered the strongest among his brothers, being second only to Grand Priest, the father of the angels. This placement is no small feat. It means that, in theory, Whis would have the capacity to intervene in any universal situation, even against other gods. Even so, he remains limited to the rules imposed on his function. But does he really follow all the rules strictly? Whis also demonstrates an absurd control over Ultra Instinct, to the point of treating it almost as something trivial. While for Goku, this technique is the greatest challenge of his life. He understands the essence of the transformation and knows how to apply it at any time, without needing to change his appearance or expend visible energy. This level of mastery further reinforces the idea that he does not just train Goku and Vegeta for fun, but because he sees in them the opportunity for something that goes much further. Another important point is that Whis shows no fear of anything. Not even Zeno, the Omni King, seems to intimidate him. He always remains calm and smiling, as if he is fully aware that what truly matters is outside the perception of most. This neutrality can be read in two ways. Either he really does not care about what happens, or he already knows that certain events need to unfold, and his role is to ensure that Goku and Vegeta are ready when that moment arrives. If we observe carefully, Whis never acts unnecessarily. He only appears in crucial situations and always with a stance of guidance. Even in the most dangerous battles, he never panics, as if he knows exactly what the outcome will be. This suggests that Whis sees beyond the present, perhaps even beyond the common future, which would make sense considering the level of power and wisdom that an angel carries. And it is at this point that a detail that many forget comes in. Whis has brothers, and each of them serves a different god of destruction. In theory, all the angels are impartial, but nothing guarantees that there is not a bigger plan involving these entities. If Whis is concerned about training Goku and Vegeta, perhaps it is because he knows that other angels may act unexpectedly soon. This leads us to think about something much bigger than simple battles between Saiyans and gods. We are talking about a possible tension within the angels' own hierarchy. Until now, they have always shown themselves to be calm and neutral, but neutrality may only be a mask. If there is a reason for Whis to act so cautiously, perhaps it is because he knows that some of his brothers are moving in the shadows. His silence in the face of Bulma's questions was not just to avoid complicated explanations, it was a conscious choice not to reveal the truth before its time. Goku and Vegeta's preparation is, deep down, a way to create key pieces that may make a difference when the balance of the multiverse is threatened. Whis is patient. He knows that Goku and Vegeta's development takes time, but he continues to guide them discreetly, always giving small hints and letting them evolve alone. This shows that he does not just want powerful disciples, he wants warriors capable of making decisions and fighting against something that even he cannot face directly. This something is not revealed immediately, but the pieces begin to connect when we remember the existence of all the other angels scattered throughout the multiverse. If Whis knows them better than anyone, it is obvious that he also knows their limits, their intentions, and even their ambitions. This leaves a question hanging: are Whis' brothers really planning something? And if that is the case, the reason Whis trains Goku and Vegeta is not just a whim or curiosity, it is a preparation. A silent bet on the potential of two mortals who, by an irony of fate, may become the last line of defense against something that has not yet been revealed. Deep down, Whis hides more than just techniques and knowledge. He holds secrets about the destiny of the multiverse itself. Secrets that cannot yet be told, but which explain every choice he has made since the moment Goku asked for his training. The fact that some angels are without a universe due to Zeno's erasure during the Tournament of Power is, in itself, a powerful narrative trigger. After all, while the mortals and even the gods of destruction were erased along with their universes, the angels remained. They are exempt, they cannot be eliminated, but they lost everything they had. This type of situation generates resentment, rancor, and especially a desire for revenge against the divine hierarchy itself. This is where the most intriguing question comes in. Whis knew this from the start. He understands that his brothers would not simply accept the loss of the universes in silence. Absolute neutrality may be a rule of the angels, but even rules can be distorted when such intense feelings come into play. The pain of loss, the idea that Zeno acts capriciously, and the perception that Grand Priest covers all this up, all this creates the perfect scenario for a silent rebellion that only needs the right moment to explode. The most terrifying thing is to think that these angels, being free from the constraints of their own universes, have nothing left to lose. They no longer answer to any god of destruction. They do not need to care for anything other than themselves. This makes them dangerous because their loyalty no longer exists, and their power remains untouched. We are talking about beings who master abilities far above the common, with total mastery of Ultra Instinct and techniques that Goku and Vegeta cannot even imagine. Whis, on the other hand, cannot act directly against his brothers. If he does, he will break the deepest rules of the angelic existence. So the solution he found is indirect but brilliant. Train mortals who can reach a level so absurd that they become pieces capable of facing the rebel angels themselves. That is why he is so interested in Goku's development. The Saiyan not only achieved Ultra Instinct, but showed himself capable of constantly evolving, breaking barriers that even the gods did not believe were possible. Whis' statement to Goku, when he said that it was already time to train him, now gains a new dimension. It is not just an opportune moment, it was the beginning of a silent plan, the preparation of a weapon against an evil that the gods themselves cannot stop. Whis is betting everything on Goku because he knows he is unpredictable, capable of surpassing limits that even the angels would not consider. Vegeta, of course, is also part of this plan. The training of the two is not just to keep Beerus interested or to test their capabilities. It is the construction of a duo that can, together, become the multiverse's greatest defense against something that no god would dare to face. Goku with Ultra Instinct, Vegeta with Ultra Ego, and perhaps even Broly being molded in this process. Whis is not just forming warriors, but a universal defense team against the angelic rebellion. The most interesting thing is to imagine the type of saga this would create. We are not talking about mortal villains or even gods, we are talking about evil angels, beings who share the same power as Whis, but corrupted by rage and revenge. A fight against them would not just be physical but also philosophical. It is the fight against the very idea of hierarchy, against the concept that Zeno and Grand Priest control everything, unopposed. Whis, in this scenario, becomes an even more complex figure. He goes from simple mentor to cosmic strategist, silently playing to prepare the resistance that no one else knows will be necessary. He cannot reveal everything. He cannot tell even Beerus because that would compromise his role. But every step taken by Goku and Vegeta is already part of this bigger board that he is setting up. This would even explain why Whis insists so much that Goku masters true Ultra Instinct. Not just the transformed form, but the pure, natural, constant state. Because only then could he rival the angels themselves. And we know that Goku is still far from that level, but it is precisely that distance that makes the journey even more necessary. Imagine the narrative impact of such a revelation in Dragon Ball. Whis telling the truth to Goku and Vegeta, revealing that the threat is not a simple superpowered mortal or a rebellious god of destruction, but the angelic brothers themselves, fallen and corrupted. It would be the total break of trust in the divine structure, showing that even the most perfect beings can turn against everything. And in the midst of all this, there is the most terrifying detail. If the evil angels really unite, not even Zeno might have total control. Grand Priest himself could be in danger. The war would cease to be just a dispute between mortals and gods, and would become a battle for the future of the cosmic order. This saga, without a doubt, would be the most insane ever seen in Dragon Ball, an arc where Whis finally shows his true face, not as a simple mentor, but as the architect of the resistance against an angelic rebellion. An arc that would explain every unspoken word, every hidden secret, and every silent decision of his since the beginning. If this really happens, it would be simply epic to see. The gathering of Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Broly, Piccolo, Granola, and even Black Frieza would create a scenario that we have never seen before in Dragon Ball. It would be the first time that mortal enemies and historical rivals would need to fight side by side against a threat that surpasses the concept of good and evil. The evil angels do not just represent a danger to the Saiyans or Earth, but to all existence, something that forces even Frieza to realize that there is no escape but to fight together. And speaking of gods of destruction, seeing these gods actively participating in the fight would be another great differential. Until now, they have always been more observers, limited to their functions of destruction, but in this scenario, even they would be at risk. Uniting the powers of destruction with the mortal warriors, all under Whis' guidance, would be a clash of divine proportions that would show how fragile the balance of the multiverse is when the angels themselves become enemies. An arc like this would be much more than battles of strength. It would be the breaking of all rivalry barriers. Goku and Vegeta having to trust Frieza, Broly being accepted as a central piece, Gohan finally taking the protagonism, and even Piccolo showing that he still has space among the most powerful warriors, all together side by side against a common enemy that threatens to destroy the entire structure of creation. This Evil Angels saga would be the climax of Dragon Ball Super, bringing together all the elements that fans have always dreamed of seeing. But comment on what you thought of all this, and don't forget to like. Thank you very much for everyone's support, and until next time,